So have you done the homework yesterday? Hello? Hello? Zarina, have you done the homework yesterday?
No,
Why? Why you didn't do?
no, sir. The time to
Sorry?
When the time to do so.
Okay, you should do today, na, please.
Yes,
Yeah, you should do today that homework, okay? Or else
yes,
then
I'll
like,
do. I'll do.
then like,
Yes,
uh, you'll tend to forget the formulas also.
yes, sir.
Yeah, today you should do it, okay?
Yes.
Yes. Now let the recording start. I'm going to start. Just 2 minutes. Yeah. So now today we are going to discuss the next variances, that is material yield variance and material mix variance. Okay. So if like the things what we have discussed already, we have discussed material variances. In this material variance, we have discussed about the material quantity variance and material price variance. Again, if I take quantity variance into picture, what I can do is I can divide this into two parts again. Material mix variance and material yield variance. Okay. So we have done metal quantity variance, we have done metal price variance, we have done material cost variance. Today we will do metal mix and material yield variance, and then I'll give you homework to do or find out all these 5 variances. Okay, so let's start. So to find out the metal mix variance, the first and foremost condition is when we will do two models in this, when standard mix is equal to actual mix, and the second model would be when standard mix is not equal to actual mix. Now what is this mix? See, as the name itself, you can like really understand. We were like finding out the material quantity variance, material price variance for some single items or single like inputs, like what we were using for production of our output. Okay, for example, we were using only material A, which was more than enough to produce some particular product. Okay, so we were using only one material. Now in case of mixed variance, we would be using more than one material. That means we'll be having material A, material B, or sometimes say metal C. So when you have three different types of metals which are used to make one single product, there is a mix of materials. So there is a mix of materials, and there comes the mix variance into picture. Why? Because when you are going to produce something, okay, and you are going to see that output like in the coming future, and we term that as actual output. Okay, so when you are going to see the actual output in the coming future, you know in actuality you are going to produce and there is going to be output in the future, uh, but for that you do prepare estimates beforehand. That means for the actual output what you are going to see in the future with the by by using all these three materials which you're going to use for the production of that actual output or actual product. So there are three materials used for making that actual product. Okay, and actual output will be seen in the future. So today itself what you'll do is you'll prepare an estimate of that how much material you are going to use of each kind, and that would be called a standard mix. Okay, so standard mix is the mix of metal which you are estimating for making actual output, and actual mix is what you're going to see when you are going to prepare the or produce the metal actually. For that actual output, what is the actual mix you are going to uh, which you are in reality going to use for making that actual output. Okay, so let's understand now the concept. It's a very easy question to do. Let's do this. So there is a question here. There's a data standard mix, so you can see material A 200 units at the rate of 12, that is the standard what we have estimated, and metal B is again 100 units like at the rate of $10. And then material mix actual mix is like, you see, you estimated that you want 200 units, but in actuality you're using only 160. Here 100, here 140, and the prices are also differing. And there's a loss even of 10% of input. So actual output happens to be 275 units. Okay. So this is actually yield variance question. We will first solve mix variance question. So I'll take a simple question. I'll give you one more question to solve. So this is a question. I'll write down all the points here, and you can see here clearly standard mix, which is a combination of standard units of X and Y materials, is 100 units, and actual mix, which is a combination of X and Y material units, which is 110 units, and standard mix is not equal to actual mix. Very clearly understood. So now in this scenario, how to find out the material yield variance? First let us write the formula for metal mix variance. First let us write the formula for metal mix variance. I'll write the formula first. Material mix variance. So formula happens to be revised standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard price. RSQ minus AQ into the actual into the standard price. Okay, this is the formula for material mix variance. So revised standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard price. Why are we making? Why are we going to find this revised standard quantity? You know that whatever the standards you are using for what purpose? For estimating. And in actuality what you are making, in actuality when you are making the product, how much units you are using for that in totality? 110 units. So standard and actual can only be compared if there is a compatibility. Am I right or wrong? Please tell me. Hello, hello, Zarina, are you following? Hello,
Hello, yes,
hello.
sir.
Yeah, so we
Hello.
can, yeah, yes sir, yes sir, yes, yes. So we can compare these two only when there is a compatibility. So what we will do is we will convert the we will find out the standard input for actual output. Okay, we will find out the standard input for actual output. So let's make the things easy. You understand what I'm saying now? I'll first write very simple question actually. Material. So we should make this column raw material X, Y, and then standard units, standard, or we can say standard quantity, and then standard price and then standard cost. Okay, so standard quantity is 40, 60. Standard price is 50 per unit and 40. You can multiply these two and you'll get the standard cost. Okay, and then we'll write the actual quantity, actual price, actual cost. 50, 60. 50 and 45. Let's multiply. This is very simply known that 2500 and 45 is some is 27, so 270, 2700. Now we will do one thing. We'll see the mix. So here it is like 100. It's called standard mix, and the actual mix is 110. So you can see here standard mix is not equal to actual mix. When standard mix is not equal to actual mix, we have to find out the revised standard quantity or revised quantity, whatever you want, you can say. So how to find out the revised standard quantity? Very simple. For this much standard mix, if the material or the input is 40 units of X, for this much standard mix, if the standard quantity is this much, for this much actual mix, how much is the revised standard quantity? So you are finding out the standard input for actual output. Okay, I'm writing the word standard input for actual output. So now cross multiply. So 110 into 40 by 100. How much, Zarina, can you tell me? I'll write it here and also find out the next one. Hello. Zarina, you are not interactive in the class.
Hello. Yes, sir, I'm seeing. I'm checking.
Are you finding that?
Yes, sir.
For this much standard mix, if the standard quantity is 60, for this much actual mix, what is the revised standard quantity? So 110 into 60 by 100. So can you tell me the answers here?
Forty-four and 5.
Yeah. Now we have made the standard mix and actual mix equal. Okay. And this is the revised standard quantity. Okay. So what do we want, Zarina, to find out the metal mix variance? The revised standard quantity and the actual quantity, and the standard price is what we have. So like what happens? See, the actual quantity what we are using is 50. We made an estimate of 44. Okay. So we made an estimate of 44 and we are using 50 in reality. That's more we are using. That's adverse. Correct or wrong? Hello. Adverse
Yes,
or
sir.
unfavorable, yeah. And also you can find out the, so you can find out the metal mix variance for this and this by putting in this formula. I'll just put it there and you tell me the answers. So you'll get the answers here. I'm waiting.
300 up.
This is like
$240.
300. So we estimated 44 and we used 60. Okay. So like this is adverse or favorable? Adverse, na?
And
Why? Because we thought that we would be using 44 units, but we used excess, and here we thought that we will be using 66, but we used less, so it is favorable.
That's a 30, not 300.
30. How? 44 and 6.
Oh, sorry, 300, right.
Yeah. So 240 favorable,
240. Yes.
and the difference is 60 adverse. 240 and 300. When we find out the total mix variance, we'll be adding this two, correct? So we'll be adding 300 adverse and
Yes.
240 favorable. We'll be getting adverse 60. Okay. So make a note of this, and let's check the answer even. Okay. So we got the answer. So once just see this, Zarina. If you are done with this, then I'll move forward. However, the recording would be there, na? So why don't you do one thing? You can also find out this question they are asking something, na? They are asking to find out the mix variance which I have done, price and usage variance. So tell me the answers for price and usage variance for this question. Find out individually and then add. Yeah, I'm waiting. Yeah, giving you 5 minutes. Finish, Zarina?
Just a minute.
Oh. Okay. So let's check the answers here. So you can make a
price
chart.
300.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
300.
Yeah. 300 adverse, and this one 500 adverse, correct?
Yes, sir.
So now this is what we have done, material mix variance. So like I'll explain you metal yield variance also, and then give you homework, okay? And also labor variance is the same thing what we are doing here. Instead of, see, labor variance has no difference except for quantity you have to put hours, for price you have to put rate, okay? For quantity hours, for quantity, R's for price, rate. That's it. That's the only difference. And again, you have labor yield variance and labor mix variance. Okay. I'll give you questions to solve at home. You have to seriously do this because tomorrow I'm going to enter into new variance. Now let's see the material yield variance. And one more thing I'm asking you, if at all you are doing material mix variance and their standard mix is equal to actual mix, for example. Okay, Sarna, are you following?
Yes, sir.
So when you have this material mix variance question and standard mix is equal to actual mix, your revised standard quantity is nothing but the standard quantity itself. That means when this 100 which is given, okay, and this here they have given 110, but instead of 110 if it is 100, that means the standard mix is equal to actual mix 100. The question itself says, then the revised standard quantity, whatever as per the formula you are supposed to find, is nothing but going to be what quantity? Standard quantity itself. That means we have a standard quantity column now, that is like 40, 60 for X and Y. Revised standard quantity is also going to be 40, 60. That's it. And again, you can proceed with the question. That's it. So same thing in yield variance also we're going to see. Let us discuss. Same thing you have to make material, standard quantity, standard price, standard cost. Leave two line space, two columns, actual quantity, actual price, actual cost. Okay. This is for revised quantity, but when standard mix is equal to actual mix, then no need to find revised quantity. Your standard quantity itself becomes revised quantity. If it's not equal, we'll do and we'll understand that. The question is given to you A, B. There are two materials. The standard quantity is 200, 100. 12 and 10. So this is going to be 2400, 1000. Okay. Actual mix 160, 140. $13 and 10. You will find out the actual cost. Okay, let's see the mix. In this, standard mix is equal to actual mix. So standard quantity itself becomes revised standard quantity. Correct or wrong? Yes. Now here input is given. Here they have given the yield to you or output to you. So standard loss is 10%. Actual output is 275 units. So we'll take the actual standard output, actual output. So they have said actual output is actual output is 275 units. That means this was actual mix. There was an actual loss of 25 units. Correct? This is what you need to understand. Common sense. If actual output is 275, actual mix what we have used is 300, so there was a loss. And regarding the standard, they have said standard loss 10%. So standard loss at the rate of 10% is 30. So 270 is your standard output. Okay. So first of all, this question, the standard mix is equal to actual mix. These two are equal. Okay. And these are the outputs. Okay. So when standard mix is equal to actual mix, the standard quantity itself becomes the revised standard quantity. Correct or wrong? Yes.
Correct, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So now you can find out the variance very easily. So I'm telling the formula. So material yield variance is equal to, the formula is standard rate into actual yield minus standard yield. So what is the standard rate? Let us find out the standard rate. Standard rate is nothing but, what is this? 2400 plus 1000 is 3400, correct? This is the standard mix
Yes.
actually, this standard total standard cost. So standard rate is equal to total standard cost divided by standard output. So 3400 divided by 270. What's the answer? Yes.
12.59.
So 12.59 into actual yield is 275. Standard yield is 270. You can tell me the answer.
$62.95.
Yeah. So now see, the yield was this much. This was your standard actually. Actual yield was more. It's good or bad actually? It's good, correct? It's good, no?
Yes.
See,
Yes.
you have to think like a cost and management accountant. So you expected the output to be this much, but the output is more. That means the given amount of input what you have used for making the output, in actuality, it was more than the estimated. So it's a good thing, favor. Okay. So just make a note of this. I'm going to do the next model. Just you can see this. Okay. Let's go ahead.
Done.
Yeah. Now next model. Material yield variance when standard mix is not equal to actual mix. So first we'll write down the formula for this. There is one more formula. I'll tell you what that formula is. So standard rate into like actual yield minus standard revised standard yield. So standard rate into actual yield minus revised standard yield. Why this revised standard yield? Why? Because we need to convert the standard into actual terms. Okay, standard input into actual terms. That is wrong. So standard yield will convert in terms of actual yield, and we'll get the revised yield. I'll tell you how to go about this. Simple question. You can write on the formula. So material A. So we'll make the columns again. Standard quantity, standard price, standard cost, actual quantity, actual price, actual cost. Okay. Standard quantity is 200 and 100. Standard price is 12 and 10. Standard mix is 300, and the standard output is 10% loss, that is 30 to 7. Okay, and then comes the actual. $160 and 140. Actual price is 13 and 10.